and welcome to another video. You join me on a bit of a gloomy evening after work today to show you the fingers crossed diagnosis of the whining noise that was coming from the engine bay that we thought was the pulley. Now I've had loads of suggestions from you guys from what it might be the crank pulley, the aircon compressor, alternator pulley, all sorts. Well, my dad came around the other night and I did a bit of revving, he did a bit of listening, did a bit of squeezing of pipes, things like that, and it turns out it's not pulley related, believe it or not. So I'm going to show you the issue now, which I'm a bit embarrassed about because it's a bit more of like a maintenance thing rather than a part that's faulty. So yeah, I'll just show you. So if you remember, if you watched the Modified Nationals, the first video I did when we were driving down there, I stopped in the car park on the way and explained I could hear the sound, and I thought I was worried it was something injector related because this is the area that I could hear it coming from. Last weekend I had the car jacked up, wheel off, everything ready to start filming, taking out the wheel arch trim so that I could listen to the pulleys. But my dad put a little bit of pressure around here, around the fuel rail, and the noise was stopping and changing. So we had a bit more of a fiddle around, and as you can see, I'll wiggle this a bit, there's movement there. So this is a little bit loose, ever so slightly on this side, not really though, mainly there, which means that where the injectors go in, that's also a little bit loose as well. So the theory is that there might be some air slightly getting down the side of one of these injectors and it's making a high-pitched noise. So what I'm actually going to do to try and solve this is remove the fuel rail, lube up all the O-rings with a bit of oil, clean everything up a bit, put it back in, tighten these down correctly. I'll try and find a torque spec for you, and hopefully that's going to be the cheapest solve of this entire channel's history. So that's had a very rough clean. It's not perfect, but it's just enough to get all the bits out of the way. I'm going to take these off and we can move the fuel rail with the injectors out of the way a little bit. Fuck's sake. That went all the way down, I heard it. Anyway. Right, so that looks like a slight problem. It looks like some of this rubber on these injectors have perished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some painter's tape or electrical tape and tape over these holes for now. Okay, so the situation that I'm in now is I can't really be reusing. I can reuse the injectors, but I can't be reusing the O-rings that are in the injectors. I've covered the holes for them to go in the intake manifold, but if you look on here, try and get this to focus, that's kind of what we're dealing with O-ring wise, so I don't fancy putting that back into the car basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bag around the fuel rail so that it's covered up and leave that job for now. Injector O-ring replacement kit, so that's what I'm going to do, put fresh ones on it before we put it back in, just so we've got peace of mind, and then we know it's going to be definitely fine. Meanwhile, we're going to look at the other job today what I've not mentioned, which is the exhaust rattle. Now when I say exhaust rattle, the heat shield under there has fallen onto the mid resonator. You can't really see it now, but I'll show you when we get the car up. Here's an example of the noise. Not that noise, that's a drill, but this noise here. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not really going to be driving around with it like that. So yeah, let's get the car jacked up and have a good look at it. Okay, so a new situation that I can't really do anything with at the minute. Obviously you can see I've had to move a slab here, so I've got two slabs in front of each other. One day I will have an actual paved place to keep this car, but up to now, for now, this is the situation. If we look under here, This is the mid resonator for the exhaust. Now if I knock here, you can see it's sat on it. Now further back, down at the back corner there, where my hand is here, there's a bolt. So I'm going to go through that hole. Can you see it there? That has perished and come away. So it might be, as recommended by a colleague of mine, Harry, big fat washer time. Because then, if I've got a big fat washer that held that, then it should be okay for now. So, but I don't really fancy getting under the car when I've got nowhere else to put an actual proper jack stand. And I can't move the car now because the injectors are out. So it's going to be wait for the O-rings, put them on, drive the car, move it or possibly take it to work so I can get it on a ramp, get properly under it, and then we can fix that as well. And that's 2 noises eliminated, fingers crossed. So then everybody, welcome back to this video. It's been like a week and a half, something like that, and I've ordered an O-ring kit for the injectors to swap them over. I'm also, after like 2.5 years of it being in circulation and everything that's gone off, finally caught the big CVID. So yeah, I'm on the back end of that now, starting to feel a bit better, and wanted to try and smash this out as soon as I'm at a point where I could physically feel like I'm alright doing it. So here we go, commitment. So the kit that I've got comes with 9 rings. There's 6 genuine Honda ones and then these ones as well. I'm guessing they might also be genuine, I don't know. But there's none of the like Honda logos and things on it. I got it as a full kit from RHD Performance. Always happy to shout those guys out because they've helped me out in the past. Really good company. Came pretty much nearly the next day after it was dispatched. So yeah, I ended it with cheapest I could find for a full set. So link in description if you do need one of these. Everything still looks alright under the bonnet, even though we had that horrendous heat for them 2 days. So yeah, we're still all good, and I'm just about to get the old rings off the injectors, just put the fresh ones on and put it all back together after I've got under the car and got that extra nut that we lost. It's been under there for weeks now. So what I'm actually going to be using is this that came out of a scalpel kit with loads of different scalpels in it. It just goes to a fine point, and I actually melted the end of this by accident once, and it's got a tiny little hook on the end of it now. You'll probably not be able to see it on camera, but it slightly hooks and grips. So still got this bag in here. I'll just use that to catch all the old O-rings, and yeah, starting to get them removed. There's 3 O-rings per injector, but the third one I think we actually have to remove the injector to put in. Isn't too much of a worry for me at the minute. I just want to replace these seals here, so I can keep those other 4 as spares if I ever get around to doing that at some point. But at the minute, especially with Japanese Performance Show right around the corner, I want to get these sorted so that the car actually drives. So let's just start removing these now. There we go, hook that underneath. You might be okay doing this with like an actual pick tool. See, that's come straight off. Or even a very small flat blade screwdriver. You just got to make sure not to damage anything whilst you're doing it. And that should start to come off. Swing it round. Oh, nearly. There you go, I'll take that out now, and oily fingers. What I'll do is I'll take them all off, give this a nice wipe down, and then put the fresh ones on. Right, so I wiped all the injectors down with a rag. Don't really know what kind of cleaning products or anything to use on them, so I'd rather just use none and wipe them dry. Got the new O-ring here, so I'm just going to see how easy this might be to put on just by hand. I'm also, obviously, I'm going to use some oil to put around the hole that the injectors go in to make sure that these don't rip when we clamp it back down. But I don't know if I'm meant to be using a bit of oil right now to try and look after these, but yeah, it's fine, easy. And we'll just do a smaller one now, just have a look at how that is. Obviously, because they are genuine Honda ones as well, we know for a fact they are going to fit bang on. So this one should be a little bit easier. I say that, probably easier to rip as well, so I need to be careful. Go side on, use 2 fingers over that little nib, because there's a nib on the end there. All good. So that's one with the fresh rings on. I'll just do the rest, start putting it back in. So I just need to lubricate these holes. Now I don't know how, but it looks like a bug, probably won't see it, but there's like a bug got underneath one of the pieces of tape and just composed under there, which is not great, but they still look clear, so I hope we're still alright. Right, so I've got one glove on now, so that, oh, best take this nut off as well, so that I can actually put it on. So I've got this glove on so that I can pop a little bit of oil that I've got in a cap up here, just around these holes. Not the tightest gloves these, I should probably get some better ones. This is my last one anyway, so once this is done it's in the bin. Might use my little finger, pop a little bit on these as well. There we go, so let's just line it up and get them all in at the same time with the fresh O-rings on. Now the O-rings are now lined up so they shouldn't snag because they've got a bit of oil. I should now be able to use the nuts to seat them in. Obviously I've only got one, so see how far we get with that. Trying to kind of even them in if I can. Right, so just to save time, I managed to find another nut with a washer that was the same size. Only difference is that's a 12mm, that's a 13mm. So I was switching between the sockets to get it tightened up, but other than that we're all good. I forgot to check the torque settings, what to use. Sorry about that, I knew I said I were going to do that, but they do feel tight enough. So that's something that you might want to look up if you do want that as a preference of what torque settings to do, but I'm pretty happy with how these are. That'll probably be temporary, I'm not sure if it's an actual stainless steel nut, might not be, so it might end up rusting. So this is just to make sure that the car's running fine now when I can move it, and possibly the nut might have fallen all the way through and it might be on the ground. So let's fire it up, get a test run, let it warm up and see if the sound is reoccurring. Right, so we've got no warning lights going up on the dash, so that's good. Just having a look for any like leakages or anything coming out, which all looks okay. Right, so it's been a good 25-ish minutes or so, still running absolutely fine, no noise, nothing at all. I think that we've cracked it perfect. Now, I haven't seen the other nut. I'll drive the car away to see if I can find it underneath, see if it's fallen out. If not, then the trail will have to come off at some point. Well, I'm not going anywhere at the minute. Whilst it's in this position, probably should turn the engine off and let the exhaust cool for this, but I've just had a quick look underneath, and if you see under here, where I was showing you about the heat shield, it's now resting back on there, unfortunately. But that bolt there is where one of the nuts was. That had just literally gone straight through the heat shield. So I managed to actually get that off with some penetrating spray, which is that one there. Loads of rust came off it, as you can imagine. So I'm going to use some GT85 to just like clean that up and get the rust out from inside there and everything. But what I'm going to do is use these washers that fit over the thread, and then I can use that nut again, and then that will hold over where the hole is in the heat shield. So because that's wider, it'll just clamp the heat shield back up into the top of the car, and I've not had to drill any extra holes. Stop rowling at me! That's what I'm going to do. And just like that then, if I show you, that is the nut and the fresh massive washer in place. It's that sturdy that the other one on the other side, it's not even flopping down anymore. So that is that sorted. After that then guys, I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. It's nice that the car is actually drivable again, so anything from now until when we do go to JPS is going to be improvements and cleaning and things like that. So it hasn't moved off this drive since Modified Nationals, so fingers crossed I can go and get a little bit of a run soon. But yeah, finally identified and fixed the problem with the whining noise. So
Please do like and subscribe if you do enjoy any of these videos, whether it's car shows, doing maintenance or modifications on this car, or anything of that matter. And remember, if you do want any of the new merch, this isn't that, this is just a Japfest t-shirt, because the other one wasn't clean anymore. The link for all that is in the description if you want to go and have a look. There's hoodies as well, even mugs. So until next time then guys, like I always say, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.